What is the function of the TryCatchFinally block? Try, catch, and finally are used for error catching purposes or error handling purposes. We put code that potentially may have an error in it within the try block. Now, they're not used for, I haven't tested my code, so I'll put it in a try block, and if it blows up. But typically we use try blocks for things that might be outside of our control. If we're connecting to a database, the database may be down and I don't know it, or connecting to a third-party web service that may at some point be down, I don't have control over that. So I definitely would want to put that inside of a try block. If something happens and my code inside the try block does not execute successfully, it will then kick down to the catch blocks, and I can have multiple catch blocks that can catch different exceptions that may be thrown. But when the exception that's thrown matches one of the catch blocks, the code within that catch block is executed. And it can be as simple as logging the exception, or setting another value, or doing something, setting an error message, redirecting the user somewhere else, all sorts of different things like that. So those catch blocks are, if an error occurred in the try block, then it runs the code in the catch block. If the code is successful in the try block, no catch block is ever run. The code in the catch blocks are only if an exception is thrown. The finally block, however, is used for either, both if the code is successfully completed, or if an exception is thrown and a catch is run. Either way, the code in the finally block will be executed, because there may be things like if we opened a database connection and then further on down in the line there was some errors. Whether or not that code completes successfully or it errors, that database connection still needs to be closed, so we're not taking up that resource. So either way, the code in the finally block is executed to close up and wrap up things that I may have started within the try block. So try is where I put my code. Catch blocks are where I put the code to be executed if an exception is thrown. And then the finally block is where I put code that needs to run, whether the code in the try block is handled successfully or an exception is thrown.